Ugh, yeah. Hi, I'm Beryl, and the theme for today's episode is eggplant. I had no idea that eggplants could be cooked in so many different ways. I got literally hundreds of submissions for this episode. So today we are looking at 5 eggplant dishes that I thought were pretty exciting from all around the world. And yes, there is going to be a second episode, so if you don't see your country in this one, maybe it'll be in the second one. Let's get started.
Hi Beryl, hi everybody. My name is Fayrouz. I am originally from Marrakesh, Morocco, but I currently live in KSA with my husband. The dish I want to share with you today is called Zaalouk. Simply put, Zaalouk is a warm salad that is made by cooking eggplants in a tomato sauce. Some people call it البرانية. We still call it Zaalouk in our household. To me, Zaalouk screams home because since childhood I would remember we would always have a spread of warm salads. And the beauty of it is that it can go with 85-90% of our main dishes. So you'd have your fried fish or grilled meats or tagine, and you would have a full spread of warm salads, including the king of warm salads, which is Zaalouk. I remember when I was young, whenever we would go to the beach or would go out and we needed to make sandwiches, we would have a baguette with a spread of Zaalouk on it, and either grilled meats or fish or whatever it comes with. It's a staple. I'd like to say it's similar to that annoying friend that once they leave, you miss them because, Zaalouk sometimes can sound plain, but, you open the fridge, it's chilling there in a Tupperware. I really, really hope you try this dish. It's not something that is talked about very often because it's not, as famous as couscous or tagine or pastilla, but it always complements our table spreads. And as we say in Moroccan derija, b'sha raha. And yeah, that would be it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'm excited to start with this Moroccan salad. Cooking it, it honestly made my kitchen smell like a dream. The spices and even the eggplant was giving off these beautiful aromatics. Let's get into this dippy dip. Whoa, that does not taste like anything I've ever had before. I feel like you can really taste the paprika. You can really taste it. And eggplant to me in general kind of has this meaty type of texture, which makes it a very satisfying bite. It doesn't feel light in your mouth ever. It feels like you're eating something. When Fayrouz was talking about packing a little beach snack, making sandwiches with these, that sounds amazing. This as just a dip on the table, everyone's gonna go in, I promise. Everyone's gonna get their little bready breads in there and want seconds. But also on a sandwich sounds absolutely incredible. Yeah. I sprinkled a little bit of this pickled labna on top, which is a very thick type of yogurt. And honestly, it's giving a little bit of salty creaminess that is adding a lot of loveliness to this bite. Fayrouz also talked about frying the eggplant. I couldn't really find any recipes that did that, so I kind of went with my gut. I just cut it up into cubes, I guess, and then gave it a little bit of a crispy bit edge and then added everything else in. Wow. I feel like dips in general are so satisfying, and people who are into dips are into dips, and I'm somebody who is into dips. I want to dip everything in everything. I would say that this is very eggplant forward, but it's very heavily spiced, so there's lots and lots of flavors going on here. If you're somebody who's I hate eggplant, would this be the dish to change your mind? I don't know, but if you like eggplant, jump on in, because this is fabulous.
Hi, my name is Daiana. I live in province of Kazakhstan called Bayıldı. Today I want to share a recipe for one of my family's favorite dish called mother-in-law's tongue. In Kazakhstan we speak several languages, so some call it Tushin music and others Yenin and Tili. Mother-in-law's tongue is like a younger sibling of a hardcore vegan burger that was partially fried and then dressed with a sauce. It's a perfect combination of eggplant, tomatoes, and garlic. The roots of this dish lie in nowadays Georgia. It came to Kazakhstan during Soviet Union. And being known as a welcoming nation, we, as many other countries, have adopted this delicious meal and will gladly serve it. every family reunion. Obviously, this specific dish became an unwilling witness to many events of my life. However, I'd say one of the most memorable and rather censored is when one of my cousins came to dine with us after his shift. He was tired, hungry, and thirsty. He picked up a 2-liter bottle of a fizzy drink that we had, and he chugged up a couple of significant gulps. And I don't know, everything kind of went like slow-mo from this point, because he didn't know we had it filled with dishwashing detergent. Obviously, he had to drink almost a gallon of milk to prevent the poisoning. Later that night, the only thing he could taste was mother-in-law's tongue. The eggplant in this dish is the base. Some people prefer to replace it with zucchini, however I believe the original recipe is better. This is an appetizer. In spite of it being easy to cook, we don't serve it on a daily basis. We associate it with celebrations, family gatherings. You should try it because eggplants has never tasted this good.
I've been trying to think, is this my first dish from Kazakhstan? I know I've done Uzbekistan. I don't know if I've done Kazakhstan. So maybe this is the first one. I had a little bit of trouble when I was Googling like what it was supposed to look like at the end. I kept coming up with images of the mother-in-law tongue plants. You know, those like spiny plants that are hard to kill. I've killed one by accident, but that's neither here nor there. I think that we're gonna eat this with our hands because I'm not sure how else to do it. It's like an eggplant rollatini. No, it's not. Whoa. That is freaking awesome! Oh, that mayonnaise and sour cream spread. Okay, hold on. Obviously you don't know what goes on in my mind when I'm cooking this, but I was questioning the tomato the whole time, being like, what is with this tomato? Like, what's it doing in here? The tomato is making this. Like, otherwise it would just be like a soft thing, right? And like, that's fine. There's space for soft things in this world, but that crunch of the tomato is so good, and it's also like brightening everything. That's honestly like 10 out of 10. Wow. This eggplant episode is off to a roaring start. It's off to a great start. When you try to make this at home, I would try to definitely use the thickest slide on a mandolin if you're gonna do that. And if you're gonna slice it by hand, you don't need to go too skinny on the slice, because when you cook them in the pan, they will get soft enough to roll up. I did a couple slices that were a little thicker, and those I think did a little better in the end. Since it's summer, I really like that it's a cold dish, but it's also a cooked dish, so you're not just eating like raw veggies, which is a nice change. It's got crunchiness and softness and creaminess and that kind of hit from the garlic and the chili. It's all around a very good time. Also recommend this one.
Hello, my name is Virginie and I'm from Eneniñ. Eneniñ is a French department which is located in the Indian Ocean. We speak French and Creole. Eneniñ has unique landscape. In one day you can go to the beach, go hike and even see the volcano. The Piton La Fournaise is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. The population of Eneniñ is a melting pot of European, Asian, Madagascar and African civilization where everybody lives in harmony. The recipe that I want to share is called Rougali Bringelles. Rougali is a term for spicy side dish, and Bringelles means eggplant. Rougali Bringelles looks like an eggplant dip or an eggplant caviar, but here in Eneniñ we add some red chopped onion, some vinegar and some chili to it. Typically you eat it with some red rice, some grain, some type of meat stew or grilled meat. But you can eat it with some bread or crackers. Rougali Bringelles is a common dish in Eneniñ. You can find it at most people's table. It's part of Réunionnese cuisine. This dish reminds me of my mother. She often made it when I was little. I always loved this dish. It's one of my comfort food. It's very easy to make. You don't need fancy ingredients to make it.
This show continues to prove how poor my geography is. Between New Caledonia from a couple weeks ago and now Reunion Island, I realized that I really just do not know my island countries. If anyone else is from a tiny island country, can you just let me know so I can study ahead of time? This is a very interesting dish to me. There was a part of me that thought that an eggplant episode might result in just like a lot of soft dishes that all kind of tasted the same. Hard no. This tastes... I kind of feel like it tastes like seafood. Like, I don't know why. There's nothing in here that's even remotely seafoody. It's like the texture of eggplant kind of mimics proteins in a way that can be confusing, but then I think it was the muddled onion, chili, and salt that made this vinegary tasting smush that went into the other smush. And it just made it so, this is so good. It's very refreshing. How is this eggplant? I feel like almost if you served this to me and didn't tell me that I was eating eggplant, I'd be like,
what is this? What are you feeding me?
this is absolutely fabulous. And also, scorching the eggplant on my stove was exhilarating. I've scorched something on my stove once prior for a pasta episode. I did a poblano sauce and that was really fun. The eggplant, I was like second guessing myself the whole time, but man, it like totally worked. When I smushed it with the smusher, it went smush. I need a new word. I'm gonna put the footage in, like, that was just from roasting it on my stovetop. That was so cool. I also have cooked eggplants in like a multitude of different fashions for this episode, which is really, really cool. If I didn't know any better, I'd say that I produced this episode pretty well. The more I eat this, the more I love this. It was fun to make, and it's just like a totally different flavor than anything I've ever expected out of an eggplant. You should also try this one. So far, you guys have a lot of eggplant dishes to cook because all of these are just utterly fab. Yup.
Hi, my name is Shivali and I am from Moradabad. You might remember Moradabad from Beryl's wedding video. The eggplant dish that I want to share today is called Baigan ka Bharta. Bharta means mashed up in English and Baigan is what we call eggplant in Hindi. Baigan ka Bharta is a very simple dish made by slow roasting Baigan or eggplant over fire. We do it over a gas stove, but you can do it in the oven if you want. We are looking for that deep caramelized and charred flavor. It is then combined with a spice base made by a few aromatics such as ginger, garlic, green chilies, onion and tomatoes, and then combined with some spice. Baigan ka Bharta is a North Indian staple. It is usually eaten as a main dish with some roti or chapati, or you can also serve it as a side dish with some lentil and rice. Baigan ka Bharta brings so many memories for me. I love cooking and food in general, and it is one of the first dishes that I started making when I started cooking. I think everyone should give Baigan ka Bharta a try because it is full of flavors and it is so versatile. You can use the spice base and add some other vegetable and make a completely new dish. Or you can add some peas, potatoes or any other vegetable of your liking to this dish. I hope you all will give this dish a try and thank you very much.
I feel like it's kind of a small world that Shivali is from the same like city/town where I got married. It's not like it's a tiny place, but it's not that big, you know? So that's awesome. I came off of the reunion salad roasting of the eggplant feeling like,
I can do this. I'm so good at roasting eggplants on my stove.
I did not roast it enough.
Whoopsies!
So I put it into the food processor to help break it down a little bit, and that got us right as rain. Let's see how I've done. That's pretty good. The eggplant's definitely the star of this dish, but the other star of this dish is hing. Hing is definitely not a spice that you would probably have in your kitchen unless you're cooking Indian food. I like to think of it sometimes as like the MSG of Indian cooking. It is what gives Indian food that kind of distinct flavor. and it helps brighten up all the other spices that are in a dish. And it's got this very sulfurous type of smell, and it's sometimes called the dung of the gods because of that sulfury smell, but like, don't be put off by it because it is spectacular. Outside of the hing, you also might not have mustard seed oil, but that also is really simple to get if you are also looking for hing, so you can, kill two birds with one stone. Other than those two things, this is actually a very simple dish to make, and there's like not much that goes into it, just a little bit of patience and, letting your eggplant roast long enough. It is really good. Like, the more I'm eating it, the more I'm like, wow, this like tastes like solid home cooking, and it's just very comforting.
My name is Ece. I'm originally from Istanbul, Turkey. The eggplant dish that I want to share with you today is called Imam Bayıldı, or literally translated, Imam, or the Muslim cleric, fainted. There are certain myths around where the name of the dish comes from. One story says that the Imam fainted out of pleasure because the dish was so delicious. Another, because of the amount of onions and garlics that are included in the dish. Or he fainted because of how expensive the dish was, because of the amount of olive oil that's used in the recipe. The origins of the dish are not very well known, although it is one of the recipes that are featured in the first ever printed Turkish cookbook. This book was printed in 1844, so this is the Ottoman era, which also explains why the dish is featured in other cuisines such as the Greek or the Armenian. We can describe the dish as a boat of eggplants, lightly fried in olive oil, filled with a lot of onions, a lot of garlic, some tomatoes, and also other spices. My old aunt used to make this dish for me when I was a child. She sadly passed away due to cancer when I was in high school, but whenever I eat this dish, I'm always reminded of her and her talents in the kitchen. Imam Bayıldı can be a really nice side dish or a second dish following the main course. It can be eaten both warm and cold, so I do hope you give it a try, and I do hope you enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, this is definitely a finale type of dish, right? Like, oh, I thought I was gonna be able to hold it next to my head. This is absolutely beautiful. I've never seen anything like this. I'm not sure how I'm gonna eat this on camera gracefully, but I'm proud of what I made. Holy smokes. Oh, yeah. That was weird. I'm gonna dive in. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, that was so soft. It was like butter. I mean, spectacular. Just spectacular. Wow. The stuffing is like the nectar of the gods. The eggplant was braising for 45 minutes with that tomato sauce kind of liquid that just seeped into everything. This is the most moist dish I feel like I have ever had. It is wet in the best way possible. The flavors are really simple. There's like not much as far as spices. It's just like the beautiful taste of vegetables elevated in the most elaborate way. Stunning. That's all I can say. Sometimes when I cook dishes like this, I realize that I am the only person who is stopping me from really like trying new things at home, because I think it's going to be really hard. When I started looking at this recipe, I thought, oh goodness gracious, Beryl, what have you said yes to? While making it, like, it was actually really simple and a very straightforward dish to make, and like, I'm just very excited. This whole episode, hold on. This whole episode has really just like blown me away. It was never that I didn't like eggplant. I just didn't really think about eggplant. It was something that, like, when I went grocery shopping, I'd see it and it'd be like, hey, you wanna take me home? And I was like, not today. But now I just feel like, holy smokes, Eggplant is not only incredibly versatile, it's easy to cook with, it doesn't require a ton of spices or a ton of work to elevate it into being something absolutely fabulous, and it's super affordable. You know, like eggplants are just, they're pretty cheap. So I'm very excited for part 2 when I do get to cook it, because there are some really cool dishes that are gonna be in that episode. Yeah. I hope that you all like this episode, and if you're like me and you were kind of like iffy about eggplant, maybe now you're gonna be a little bit more gung-ho. All of the recipes are in the description. And while you're here, here is a garlic and here is an onion episode. I feel like it's all kind of the same family to keep you thinking about maybe more everyday foods as extraordinary. Ooh, that's a good tagline. I'm gonna save that for later. I hope you have a good week, and I will see you in my next video.